Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you on this July 28th, 2025. I've got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work. I hope you rested up this weekend because we have a lot to dive into. We'll be discussing Jax from Vanderpump and The Valley fame on Bravo, why he's taken his name off of his bar that he has in Los Angeles. And then I'll also discuss Candace Owens. Over the weekend, I, let my audience know that in order for me to properly cover this defamation lawsuit, I'll have to check out what is alleged by Candace and what she's being sued for. So I'm going to get into that briefly in this podcast episode, and then more so later today as we deep dive into this lawsuit. There's a lot to cover there. 1,100 new subscribers. Thank you guys for tuning in as we break that down. And then Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, a case a lot of people are familiar with, is really reaching its fever pitch. I mean, the deadline for Blake, it's really, the shot clock is winding down on her. She's got her deposition around the corner. Is she going to settle this thing? I mean, it's almost like she's done everything humanly possible to kick the can down the road. Well, now she is releasing the subpoenas that she had on all of the different content creators. I'll read what she had to say in her letter to the judge, and then we'll give you our take, which is a little bit more oopsies than she wants it to look like. I mean, it's a terrible PR move, maybe the worst one of the year, to be quite honest. Then after that, we'll get into the politics, the second half of the show, talking about the Epstein cover-up, and then Gaza as humanitarian aid is now coming in through the sky. I'll have those stories and more. It all starts right now on The Rush. Congratulations to former Bachelorette Hannah Brown as she finally makes it to the altar with Adam Woodward, I believe his name is. There's their photo. This is how listen, this is, if anyone's ever been married out there, this is the closest the guy's going to get to being in the photo, right? It's just an over-the-photo shot of him. He's blurry. She's looking fantastic. It's about the lady. It's about the bride. She looks beautiful. Congratulations. Jax Taylor says, "See you later, LA bar." Bravo star stepping away from his namesake pub. So he's got his place called Jax's. Well, no longer. I guess they're going to rip the sign off the wall. A rep for the Vanderpump Rules alum tells us he made the decision to terminate his partnership with the establishment, saying it was a carefully considered and necessary step to prioritize his sobriety and mental health. Listen, I think this is fantastic. It's like, yes, some people can be sober and run a bar, but this early on in his sobriety, I think it's great for him to take the steps to get out of the environment that fueled his addiction, or at least triggered it. So good on him. All right, quick thoughts on Candace Owens. I'm going to have a separate video today. We'll have a lot of content to push out discussing Candace Owens, so double check, make sure you're subscribed. But first, on Saturday, I decided to make this video titled, I Was Wrong. I was wrong for saying I wasn't going to watch Candace Owens' docuseries. In order for me to cover her defamation case, I need to know everything that she said that she is now being sued for. And there is a lot. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't have an opinion on her docuseries about halfway through it as I stand right now, because a lot of what she said, it'll be stress test, as it were, in the court system. There's, I think, 20 or so reasons why Brigitte Macron, the French president's first lady, is suing Candace Owens, and we'll have to see if it holds up in court. That's really what it's going to come down to. But what I can tell you guys is I'm going to get y'all educated. I'm going to speak with some lawyers this week. We're going to have them on the show. I'm going to speak with people that have fought defamation cases against journalists or journalists that were part of defamation cases. So we're going to really do a deep dive into this. It's the First Amendment. It's very important. It's right there, smack dab. This centerpiece of the U.S. culture is this amazing thing, the First Amendment, but it doesn't cover defamation. So Brigitte Macron, we'll have to see if she can prove the ways in which she claims she's being defamed. But what was amazing was after making this video on Saturday, we received 1,100 new subscribers, 132,000 views. So there is a market for this. The challenge will be covering it in what I believe needs to be an ethical way, which is to say it's ugly. There's a lot of claims being made, but I can't write off what Candace Owens is saying without doing my own research into it. And you guys can do whatever the heck you want. There's a lot of people that say, Dave, don't even give this any light. And I understand that, but this is going to be the biggest defamation lawsuit this year, maybe this generation. It's going to be huge. So I think it'll be worth our time to cover. And I'm just setting the table right now to let you guys know I'm busy working on it. And we'll have that video after this, which will really show all of the claims that Candace has made. If you haven't watched the series, I'll catch you guys up. All of the claims she has made and exactly why Brigitte is suing her. And then when it goes to trial, there'll be the depositions and there'll be all of the information that comes in discovery, which will either prove Candace is right or it's going to cost Candace a lot of money. Or Candace may be wrong, but if she can prove that she believed she was right, then she would win that. So again, we'll cover all of that later because I got it all. ChatGPT is my friend right now. I got the bullet points, all of the things that the lawsuit alleges. Because listen, a lot of folks are going to say, no, Dave, you gotta watch, you gotta listen to Candace. Absolutely. But there's always the other side of the story. No matter what she says in her narration, there's the other side. So if you like what we do here, I'm going to try to be as fair as possible as we watch that thing play out. All right, big story here in the Blake Lively world. The Blake Lively, her legal team has written to the judge in response to the motions to quash. Again, all of the YouTubers, TikTokers, Twitter stars, they all came together. They wrote their motions to quash. And now Blake Lively's saying they're gonna just drop it. So here they say the subpoena to Google, the third parties, Lauren Needy, Ashley Brianna Eve, Mackenzie Folks, Cassidy O'Connell, and the Twitter and all these other places. Basically, they're saying, yeah, we're good. No thanks. Never mind. You don't have to rule on the motion because it should be moot because we're going to get rid of it. As the court knows, a core component of Miss Lively's claims centered on the Wayfair defendant's digital media smear campaign, which sought to manipulate the media landscape against her using untraceable sources to paint Miss Lively as the aggressor. Now, these are Lively's the sort of retelling of what this quote-unquote smear campaign is. Now, the truth is there was an offer to Justin Baldoni. For $100,000 a month, we can do this. For $30,000, we can do that. And as it came down to it, they never hired this company to do an untraceable campaign. It was the internet that just decided they did not like Blake Lively. Again, that's my belief, and there's no evidence from Blake Lively's side that any of these content creators participated in the campaign. We knew that. We're not surprised. I've never been so sure of anything in my life. Miss Lively's subpoenas were one part of the discovery process aimed at gathering information to link the Wayfair party's activities to sources through YouTube and Twitter and creator accounts. Miss Lively's counsel has met and conferred with various individuals whose account information is the subject of the subpoenas, including the third parties who have filed motions to quash, and as set forth above, has determined to withdraw the subpoenas as to them. Miss Lively's counsel has advised Google and Twitter that the subpoenas are withdrawn to the different handles, Laura and Ashley, Cassidy, Kiara, existing to thrive. Miss Lively's counsel has provided each. So there it is. No, but this is Blake Lively's side saying, listen, the reason why we wanted another information is because we thought, it's like, but you can't just do that. You can't just look at, into people's private information because you got a hunch, right? That's not possible. Katie from Without a Crystal Ball said that Blake Lively, through her attorneys, is demanding that she disclose anonymous sources in exchange for withdrawing her subpoena. And she says, kick rocks. We love Katie. She doesn't give a flying F. She says, no thanks. This is my freedom of the press. You're not allowed to, demand my sources. And which sources are they looking for? Are they sources that talked trash about Blake from set? I mean, if you spoke to a journalist, you should be entitled to that anonymity because that's how the world works. That's what keeps people from, keeps whistleblowers blowing the whistle. What else can you say about it, right? So there's no way they're going to get that out of her. And good for her. Good for Katie. Because if one journalist decides to bend the knee, then it puts a lot of stress and pressure on everyone else. Actually, we look at this with the current president, the Trump administration, right? They get 2020, Disney, Paramount, they get them all to settle these $15 million lawsuits. It puts so much pressure on these media companies to bend the knee. And if everyone just stands strong, you see that you're stronger than the bully that you're facing. Here's what Not Actually Golden had to say about this weekend withdrawal. And by the way, make no bones about it, this is a huge loss for Blake Lively. I mean, they were playing chicken and they flinched big time.
It's looking more and more likely, like, yeah, they might have planned an untraceable smear campaign, but they never actually did it because they didn't have to. But this is an admission. This is an admission by Lively's team that they didn't have anything else. They just sent these because they thought what these people said looked suspicious. And you can't do that.
There it is. You can't do that. So that's all we have. Oh, here we have our Reputation 911, Chris, saying, this is a bad thing that happened. Yeah, as far as PR goes, listen, they're fighting this case in the public, right? So what happens in the court also spills out to the streets. And the fact that Blake Lively caused this much extra damage, all of this extra bad will between her and content creators, and they get nothing out of it. It was like, was it worth it, Blake?
Disaster. Hey everyone, I'm specifically talking about Blake Lively and her legal team's decision to kill the subpoenas, essentially, to smaller content creators who've been publishing anti-Blake content across platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and X. Blake and her legal team have essentially admitted that there was no legal rationale or justification for those subpoenas and have asked the court to essentially to no longer enforce them. At least that's how I interpret the legal filings. Now, this hurts Blake from a PR perspective on a number of fronts. First, it makes it look like she's got nothing on the smear campaign allegations. You went through all of this effort to subpoena these people. All of them said that they didn't connect with Justin beforehand.
Right. The only thing Blake got out of this is a couple of those Blake influencers, the ex-patriarch guy, they were able to kind of do like a victory lap for 2 weeks. But again, short-lived.
And are only covering the case as it's unfolded, and that looks bad, so it looks like she's got nothing. Secondly, I thought Blake had a leg to stand on with the subpoenas to the larger content creators, but now, given what's happened with the smaller content creators, this will look weak as well.
Yeah, there it is. It looks weak as well. You know who's not looking weak? The beautiful couple here, Justin Baldoni and Mrs. Baldoni. He posted this, a rare post by Justin Baldoni over the weekend, saying, "I'd marry you again and again and again and again. Happy anniversary, my love, 12. And there they are. And of course, the comment section delivers all of the support. All right, folks. Well, that's it for the pop culture. If you're new here, we open the day with pop culture. We wrap it up with politics. Coming up next, we've got Epstein. We've got the conspiracies that are being unearthed regarding this insane case. We've got the deflection and a possible cheating scandal happening in Scotland. All that and more coming next.